Hi, welcome back. Ever held history in your hand? These ordinary-looking 50-cent coins could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. But only if you know what to look for. First up, 1988 coat of arms era-proof 50-cent coin. In 1988, while the nation of Australia was proudly celebrating its bicentenary, marking 200 years since the arrival of the First Fleet, the Royal Australian Mint released a stunning proof set of coins. These coins were pristine, mirror-finished, struck with precision and aimed at collectors who sought perfection. But from this series emerged something that was never meant to happen. Something rare and extremely valuable. The 1988 proof 50-cent era coin. A coin that challenges everything we expect from a proof issue. This era features the iconic Australian coat of arms, the kangaroo and emu, standing proudly beside a central shield. But collectors soon noticed a subtle and peculiar imperfection in some of these proof coins. Instead of the usual flawless strike that proof coins are known for, this 1988 piece showed signs of minting anomalies. One of the most striking errors reported involved misalignment and die flaws. Some examples had ghosting effects, unintended marks or inconsistencies in the mirrored fields and frosted devices, deviations that should never escape the Mint's rigorous inspection for proof sets. Why is this such a big deal? Because proof coins go through an entirely different process. They're struck multiple times with polished dies on specially prepared planchets. The margin for error is virtually zero. And when something goes wrong, when a mistake makes it out into the hands of collectors, it becomes a numismatic treasure. While the mintage of the standard 1988 50-cent proof coin is relatively low to begin with, only 80,000 produced, only a tiny number of those contain these rare errors. In high-grade condition, these coins can command significant prices at auction, particularly if professionally certified and verified as mint errors. Sales have been recorded over $180,000 AUD, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. But remember, these errors are not always dramatic. Some may be subtle die polish lines, others slight misalignments, yet in the world of proof coins, where perfection is expected, even the slightest deviation can turn a common collectible into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. 1988 wasn't just a year of national pride for the numismatic community. It became a year of unexpected rarity. Number 2. 2001 Upset Rotation, Federation Coat of Arms 50-cent coin. 2001 was a monumental year for Australia. It marked 100 years since the Federation, the moment when the colonies came together to form the Commonwealth of Australia. To celebrate, the Royal Australian Mint released a stunning array of commemorative coins, among them a 50-cent coin featuring the Federation coat of arms. But hidden among these celebratory pieces was a production anomaly so fascinating, so unusual that it captured the attention of collectors across the country. This was the 2001 Upset Rotation era 50-cent coin. In numismatics, an upset rotation refers to a misalignment between the obverse and reverse of the coin. When you flip a normal coin from top to bottom, the reverse image should be upright. But in the upset rotation variety, the reverse is off by a certain number of degrees, and in this case, it was significant. Some examples showed rotation of 30, 45, 90, or even 180 degrees, creating an immediate, visible anomaly when flipped. This was not just a minor mint flaw, it was a mechanical mishap. A failure in the coin striking machinery, where the dies were improperly aligned during the production run. But here's the twist, these weren't coins casually minted for circulation. These were 2001 commemoratives, coins that celebrated Australia's national unity and identity. And the presence of such a bold error turned this piece into a highly desirable collector's item. Collectors today actively hunt for these rotated errors. The value can vary significantly depending on the degree of rotation and the condition of the coin. A full 180-degree rotation in uncirculated condition can command $120,500 to $130,500 AUD, while less dramatic rotations fetch lower but still respectable premiums. The key is authenticity. Serious collectors insist on third-party verification to confirm the rotation degree. And this coin is more than just a mechanical flaw, it's a poetic accident. On a coin that symbolizes the perfect union of states, the design itself became disjointed, a symbol of imperfection in the celebration of unity. And that irony only adds to its allure. Number 3. 1981 Canberra Mint 50 cent, double bar behind emu variety. In 1981, Australia was facing a unique situation. The domestic demand for coinage had surged. And for the first time, 50-cent coins were minted, not just at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, but also overseas, specifically in Canada and Wales. Amid this unusual multi-mint production, a peculiar and now celebrated variety emerged, the double bar behind the emu on the Australian coat of arms. This double bar is found just behind the emu's neck, two faint raised lines, parallel to each other, appearing between the emu and the shield. To the casual eye, they may look like harmless dye marks or incidental scratches. But in the world of numismatics, these marks are legendary. They are the result of a dye variety, most likely due to overpolishing or engraving defects in one of the dyes used at the Canberra Mint. What makes this fascinating is that it's only found on coins minted in Australia, not on the Canadian or Welsh strikes. That makes it a telltale marker of a Canberra coin. And because only a small portion of the overall 1981 mintage carries this double bar feature, it's become a prized find for variety collectors. Now, let's talk numbers. Over 50 million 50-cent coins were minted in 1981, the vast majority struck overseas. But only a fraction were produced in Canberra, and only a portion of those exhibit the double bar variety. That puts this variety firmly into the scarce but obtainable category. In circulated condition, these coins may only fetch $100 to $200 AUD. But in high grades, especially mint state or uncirculated, prices can range from $110,000 to $120,000 AUD, with exceptional examples fetching even more at auction. For serious variety hunters, the double bar is a must-have, not just for its rarity, but for the rich story it tells about international minting, Australian coinage history, and the hidden details that make a coin extraordinary. Today, collectors meticulously inspect their 1981 50-cent coins under magnification, hoping to see those elusive twin bars behind the emu, because spotting them means holding a piece of minting mystery in your hands. Number 4. 1966 round silver 50-cent coin. The year was 1966, a year that changed Australia forever. Decimalisation had arrived on the 14th of February. The nation officially transitioned from pounds, shillings and pence to dollars and cents. And with that came the birth of a new coin, the round 50-cent piece. Unlike the dodecagon shape we know today, the original 50-cent coin was perfectly round, struck in 80% silver and 20% copper. It weighed 13.28 grams and had a diameter of 31.5 millimeters, making it one of the largest circulating coins in Australian history. It featured the proud Australian coat of arms on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, both beautifully sculpted. But something unexpected happened. As silver prices climbed globally, the metal value of the coin soon exceeded its face value. By late 1966 and early 1967, Australians were hoarding these silver coins, not for spending, but for melting. The result, the mint ceased production of the round 50-cent coin after just 1 year, with a mintage of just over 36.5 million. It may seem like a large number, but due to hoarding, melting, and loss over time, finding one today, especially in uncirculated condition, is becoming increasingly difficult. In high grades, these coins can fetch $80,000 to $90,000 AUD, and sometimes more depending on toning and eye appeal. even in circulated condition. The silver content alone makes them worth well above face value. But perhaps more important than its price is its legacy. The 1966 round 50-cent coin represents the very beginning of Australia's decimal journey, and with it, a numismatic treasure that links past currency with modern history. It remains the only Australian decimal coin ever released into circulation with silver content, making it a true outlier and a true icon. Number 5. 2010 Upset Rotation Era 50-cent coin. Fast forward to 2010, Australia's coinage had evolved over the decades, new designs, commemorations, minting innovations. But even in the age of advanced quality control, the mint still wasn't immune to error. And in 2010, something very peculiar occurred. The upset rotation error returned. Typically, when you flip a coin vertically, top to bottom, the reverse side should appear perfectly upright. But with the 2010 50-cent coin, some examples were minted with the obverse and reverse out of alignment. This misalignment is known as an upset rotation. In the 2010 variety, collectors began discovering coins rotated anywhere between 30 and 180 degrees. Was it an isolated batch? Was it a machine calibration issue? To this day, the Royal Australian Mint has not released a public explanation. But for collectors, that mystery only adds to the value. The 2010 issue itself was a standard coat of arms coin, minted for circulation, but the upset rotation turned it from ordinary to extraordinary. What makes this coin even more fascinating is that the error escaped modern detection systems, which, by 2010, were supposed to eliminate such minting flaws. In terms of value, the coin's worth depends heavily on the degree of rotation and condition. A 30-degree upset may earn $250 to $350 AUD, while a full 180-degree rotation can reach $130,000 or more, especially if professionally graded. It's also a favorite among error collectors because it represents a true mechanical fault, rather than a post-mint alteration. The 2010 upset rotation is a reminder that even in a digital age, human error or machine miscalibration can turn a simple coin into a rare collectible. It pays to flip your coins because sometimes they just don't land the way they should. Number 6. 2000 Incuse flag, Millennium 50-cent coin. The year 2000 was more than a new year, it was a milestone. The dawn of a new millennium. Around the world, countries released special commemorative coins, and Australia was no exception. Among the most iconic of these is the 2000 Millennium 50-cent coin, issued to celebrate unity, progress, and national pride. This special design featured a stylized Australian flag, waving behind a ring of 12 stars, representing the states and territories. But among the millions struck, a rare anomaly slipped through the cracks, the Incuse flag variety. In the standard coin, the lines of the Union Jack in the flag are raised, relief struck, as is normal for coin design. But in a limited number of coins, those same lines are sunken or incused, as if pressed into the surface rather than raised. This subtle variation is not due to wear or damage, it is a genuine die variety. The reason: a separate die was used during production, either due to experimental testing or a misplacement at the mint. These Incuse flag coins were never officially acknowledged at the time, but collectors who spotted the difference quickly realized they were onto something rare. Estimates suggest that fewer than 200,000 Incuse flag coins exist, compared to the 16 million standard 2000. Commemoratives, that makes this one of the rarest modern varieties in Australian coinage. Prices vary depending on condition. In circulated state, they can fetch $500 to $1,500 AUD. In uncirculated or high mint state condition, they can soar to $30,000, $40,000, or even $45,000 AUD, especially if slabbed and verified by PCGS or NGC. The Incuse flag is a subtle detail, invisible to the casual eye. but unmistakable to collectors. It's a reminder that even in mass production, rare treasures can quietly slip through. And it's that quiet rarity that makes the 2000 Incuse flag 50-cent coin a crown jewel of modern Australian numismatics. Number 7. 1998 Bass and Flinders 50-cent coin. In 1798, two brave explorers, George Bass and Matthew Flinders, set out on a voyage that would change Australian history. Their journey aboard the small vessel Norfolk confirmed what many had suspected, that Van Diemen's Land was, in fact, an island, separated from the mainland by a stretch of water we now know as Bass Strait. 2 centuries later, in 1998, the Royal Australian Mint honoured their achievement with a commemorative 50-cent coin. The coin's reverse design captures the spirit of exploration, detailed portraits of Bass and Flinders with the Norfolk ship in the background, surrounded by inscriptions commemorating their 1798 journey. This was not just a tribute to two men, it was a celebration of discovery, resilience, and the shaping of a nation's geography. Struck in copper-nickel and issued for general circulation, the 1998 Bass and Flinders 50-cent coin had a mintage of around 22 million, making it a common sight in change, at least back then. Today, however, uncirculated examples are much harder to find, and coins in pristine condition are increasingly sought after by collectors of Australian commemoratives. High-grade examples can command $25,000 to $30,000 AUD, with even higher prices for proof or mint sets, though it has no known widespread error varieties. A sharp strike with full detail on the ship's rigging and the explorers' faces is especially desirable. Bass and Flinders charted unknown coasts. This coin charts a legacy, a fitting reminder of the courage it took to explore the edges of the map and beyond. Number 8. 1995 Weary Dunlop commemorative 50-cent coin. In the shadow of war, some heroes stand not with weapons, but with compassion. Sir Edward Weary Dunlop was one such man, an Australian surgeon and soldier. Dunlop became legendary for his courage and dedication while serving as a prisoner of war on the Thai-Burma Railway during World War II. In 1995, the Royal Australian Mint honoured his humanitarian legacy with a beautifully struck 50-cent commemorative coin. It marked the 50th anniversary of the end of World War II, and celebrated Dunlop's contribution not just as a war hero, but as a man of healing and hope. The coin features a strong profile portrait of Weary Dunlop, with his name and service years inscribed. Behind his image are stylized rays of light, perhaps a symbolic nod to the strength and dignity he showed in darkness. Over 15 million of these coins were minted for circulation, making them fairly accessible. But that hasn't stopped collectors from treasuring them, especially those in high-grade or proof condition. Prices for circulated examples hover around $300 to $1,000 AUD, while uncirculated coins and those from mint packs can reach $20,000 to $40,000 AUD or more. There are no major error varieties known for this coin, but it remains highly popular for its emotional and historical significance. It's not just metal, it's memory. A numismatic salute to a man who served others with courage, even in captivity. It's number 9. 1991 Ram's Head 25th Anniversary 50-cent coin. In 1966, Australia embraced a new era with the introduction of decimal currency. And on that very first 50-cent piece stood the powerful symbol of the Australian merino ram, a nod to the country's wool industry and rural backbone. 25 years later, in 1991, the Mint reimagined this classic image with the release of the Ram's Head 25th Anniversary 50-cent coin. The reverse design was a faithful revival of the original 1966 image, the majestic merino ram, originally designed by George Kruger Gray. But this time, the coin bore the 12-sided shape, introduced in 1969. Struck in copper-nickel rather than silver. A unique blend of nostalgia and modern coinage. Over 4.7 million of these coins were produced, making them more limited than many other commemoratives. Collectors quickly recognize their value, not just for the design, but for the historical throwback. Today, circulated examples are valued at around $100 to $200 AUD, while high-grade uncirculated or mint condition coins can bring $40,000 to $50,000 AUD, especially those in original Royal Australian Mint packaging. What collectors love about the 1991 Ram's Head coin is its symbolism. It's not just a reissue, it's a celebration of Australia's agricultural legacy and the resilience of its people. For many, it's the perfect blend of old and new, a reminder of where decimal coinage began. Number 10. 1981 Charles and Diana Royal Wedding 50-cent coin. In July 1981, the world turned its gaze toward a fairy tale, the royal wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer. It was a moment of global fascination, pageantry and youthful hope. In Australia, a nation deeply connected to the monarchy, the Royal Australian Mint commemorated the occasion with a 50-cent coin bearing the royal couple's portraits. The design is elegant and regal, with side-by-side profiles of Charles and Diana, a reflection of unity and tradition. The reverse bears the inscription, "The Royal Wedding of HRH the Prince of Wales and Lady Diana Spencer, 1981. It remains one of the most iconic royal commemoratives in Australian coinage, with over 20 million coins struck. This was never intended to be rare. But as time has passed, and with the tragic history that followed, this coin has taken on a deeper meaning. For collectors, it is no longer just a wedding memento. It is a tangible piece of 20th century royal history. In circulated condition, values remain modest, around $300 to $500 AUD. But high-grade uncirculated pieces, especially those from official Royal Mint packaging or souvenir releases, can command $25,000 to $35,000 AUD. Proof versions, though rare, are even more desirable. Though this coin has no major mint errors, its emotional weight and historic context elevate its importance. It is a reminder of a moment that captivated a generation, and of the people whose lives became symbols of love, duty and, ultimately, tragedy. From forgotten treasures to royal legacies, these 50-cent coins are more than just currency, they're chapters of Australian history hiding in plain sight. So next time you reach for change, take a second look, you might be holding a fortune in your hand. If you enjoyed uncovering these rare gems, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because your next big discovery might be just one video away. Thanks for watching.